Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. Thank you all so much for being here today. We have some more folks joining us, so we will just take a few minutes, probably get started around 12:04, 12:05 to give some folks some time to join us. Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
Hello, welcome.
Oops.
Okay.
Uh,
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
All righty. Well, for those of you joining us now, welcome. Thank you all so much for being here today at LMU's info session for our doctoral program in educational leadership for social justice. My name is Leticia Estrada, and I am the graduate programs recruiter here at LMU. I'm also joined here today by some special guests we have who have taken the time out of their day to be here with us and share a little bit about their experience teaching within the doctoral program. So we have our faculty panel who have kindly joined us here today. We also have our program co-directors, Dr. Dolores Delgado Bernal and Dr. Cynthia Alcantar. So we're so happy to have you here today as well. I'm also joined by the assistant director of the doctoral program, Michaela Cooper, who some of you have likely connected with already. So we're so thankful to have you all join us here today. The way that this session will flow is that we'll start off with a shortened presentation of our PowerPoint, just to give you all a brief overview of the program so that you have more time to connect with our faculty members, learn a little bit more about their experience within the program, and also be able to ask any questions that you might have. So I will go ahead and get started. This is LMU's online EdD, and we like to start off all of our sessions by asking why choose LMU, right? We want to give you a better understanding of the culture here at LMU, who we are as an institution, and where we can really find that is within our mission, which is the education of the whole person, the encouragement of lifelong learning and academic excellence, and the promotion of service and justice for all. So we are a Jesuit institution, and because of that, a lot of our values lie with the Jesuit faith and have inspired our mission. Within the School of Education specifically, we've implemented a DEIAJ framework. And we are also in one of the most beautiful areas in Los Angeles. We're voted one of the most beautiful college campuses in California. If you haven't visited us yet, we highly encourage you to come and check out the campus. Although it is a fully online program, you will have access to all of the resources on campus, which I'll go into a little bit more further in the presentation. But we're located right by LAX, Marina del Rey, Santa Monica. So we have a beautiful view, which we call the Bluff, in which you can see a little bit of the Hollywood sign, a little bit of Playa del Rey Beach. It truly is a beautiful, beautiful campus to be in. So we encourage you to come visit us. We are ranked #2 private school in California, and we are #2 Jesuit university in the country. We also have internationally renowned faculty who some of us have joined today, who you'll get to connect with a little bit further. All right. What sets us apart also as a EdD program is that we are one of the only programs focused on social justice. So we are very proud of that. We're proud of this program being over 20 years old. So the social justice component has always been deeply rooted into our curriculum and the way that we continue to develop the program moving forward. We take an integrated approach to theory and practice as well. And we have leaders who come from all sectors within education. So because I mentioned this program is 20 years old, we've gained a robust network of alums who are superintendents, principals, policymakers, nonprofit, and community leaders. So we look for leaders from all areas of education who are looking to improve equity within education and dismantle systems of oppression in education as well. Within the program, we've embedded some structural support to help you succeed within the program and ensure that your needs are being met as an active practitioner taking on a doctoral program. So we currently have a 1-to-1 dissertation chair to student ratio. We've embedded what we call dissertation research communities, which we'll dive into a little bit more and hear from some of our dissertation research community chairs also. But those hubs consist of about 7 students who you will take your series of writing courses with and who will share the same chair as you. So not only do you have your support from your chair, you will also have that peer support network to lean on throughout your time in the program. We also have intimate class sizes because we typically build a cohort of about 18 to 24 students. So you really get that 1-to-1 student-faculty connection. And then because of the fact that this program is designed for working professionals, we try to provide you with whatever type of individualized support that you may need, whether that may look like office hours at a time that may not be listed, or connecting with us helping connect you to a resource on campus, like the Writing Center, whatever that may look like, we're willing to provide you with the support that you need and meet you where you're at. We also have some professional development workshops, some writing retreats, brown bag lectures, and additional professional development opportunities here, whether that be on campus or online or in a bimodal fashion. We encourage our students to continue to share the work that they're doing, not only within the program, but in their lives, in their areas of work. So we've embedded those opportunities as well. All right, a little bit of an overview of the program. Again, this is a fully online EdD program. It takes about 3 years to complete the program, and it consists of 46 units. Every student who is admitted to the program will be considered for a generous doctoral scholarship of up to $30,000, which takes a big chunk actually out of the tuition and is a pretty generous scholarship. And then the program is designed for working professionals, as I mentioned. So what that looks like is evening classes, about twice a week. And then we encourage our students to share their research internationally. And there are opportunities for mentorship and guidance to do so. So whether that be connecting with faculty to help you apply for a presentation or to attend a conference, there's even some funding opportunities available to do so. So we encourage you to do that as well. Within our campus, we do have our amazing CPD office, our career and professional development team, who are at your service to aid you with mock interviews, resume review, salary negotiation tips. We also have our own internal app called The Pride, which is sort of a LinkedIn, I would say, within our own community. They're frequently looking to connect with our current students. We have over 100,000 alumni who use that app. So there's a lot of opportunities to connect with our alums and to further develop in your career through there as well. Another amazing resource is our LMU Hannon Library. Our library gives you 24/7 access to over 53,000 journals and over 300 databases. There are also librarians available to chat with you 24/7 online throughout your research. This program specifically begins in the spring. So here at LMU, we have fall, spring, summer session 1, and summer session 2. This program begins in the spring, and what that looks like for us, that would mean a January start date. The upcoming deadline is September 10th, 2024. So as you move forward throughout the application process or have any questions about the program, we highly encourage you to connect with us to support you through that process. All right, and this gives you a look into some of the courses that you'll be taking. So a 3-year look at the curriculum within the program. During the first year, you have your research-heavy courses, so situated inquiry, qualitative research and education, quantitative research, and then your leadership core classes as well. In the second year, we focus on policy, management, and law courses within education. And within the third year, we give you this time to solely focus on the dissertation writing process. This is a glimpse into some of our faculty areas of expertise.
And that's where our job.
So we have our some of our guests who are joined us here today, and we'll give them the opportunity to share their areas of research as well. You might be wondering what you need to apply to the program. So we do have a couple specific things that we look for within our online application. We do look for you to have a undergraduate GPA of a 3.0 or higher and a graduate GPA of a 3.5 or higher. Now, we do take a holistic approach to the application review process. So if you are a few points off or have some concerns about your GPA, we encourage you to connect with us and still apply because we will take into consideration all other aspects of the application as well. We also look for at least 2 years of experience in education or leadership in your context. That doesn't mean that we expect you to already be a superintendent or have the role that you seek to achieve, but do have some experience under your belt. Within the online application, you'll also see the prompt to the statement of purpose that we require, which is 2 to 4 pages, in which you will state why you would like to pursue the EdD in educational leadership for social justice and how the degree fits into your career plans, why you want to study at LMU specifically, and some of your areas of research interest. This doesn't mean that we're looking for you to already have your dissertation research topic figured out or ironed out. We just want to get to know a better sense of what you're interested in, to see the faculty that we can connect you with who also share that area of research or who can support you through the program as well. We also look for a current resume and 2 letters of recommendation. One of those letters can be from a current employer or former employer. And the second letter can be from a professor or mentor. We do accept up to 3 letters, but for the application itself, only 2 are required. Lastly, we will need all transcripts from all universities or colleges attended to be sent to us directly from your university. Those can be sent either via mail to the graduate admission office or electronically as well via email. And then based on the initial review of all these things that I just listed, candidates who are elected to move forward in the process will be invited to a virtual interview to follow. All right, and then this slide, we do want to include it just to let you all know that unfortunately, if your state is not currently listed on this slide, what that means is that California does not currently have an agreement to deliver online education at your state currently, unfortunately. However, this is continuously changing and being updated, so we encourage you to check back with us to see if anything's changed. All right. And then a little bit about the timeline. Again, the application for this term will be due September 10th, 2024. The interviews would take place sometime in September to October. You'd receive an invite to interview. And then the final admission decisions would be released sometime in November of 2024. There is a virtual mandatory orientation that takes place in December. And then your classes would officially begin in January. This chart right here gives you a better look at how the tuition is spread out across the 3 years in the program, as well as the doctoral scholarship over the 3 years. So you can see here how much would be owed after the doctoral scholarship is applied and before, across the 3 years. And then we do have some additional ways to fund the degree. Our financial aid office is very helpful when it comes to looking for alternative routes. We do have outside scholarships as well as scholarships within the School of Education specifically, including a Catholic school teacher scholarship, which is $5,000, which can be combined with the $30,000 doctoral scholarship. And then some of our students also elect to go the federal loan route with the FAFSA completion as well. So if you do have questions about financial aid or scholarship resources, we encourage you to connect with the financial aid office at the number we provided here or the email. Lastly, this is a QR code, which will take you directly to our website in which you can explore some of our students' previous dissertations, as well as some helpful links about the program. All right. I will go ahead and stop sharing now. For those of you who joined us a little later, thank you all so much for being here. We're joined by our faculty who I would like to introduce now. If you all would so kindly share, we're joined today by Dr. Cynthia Alcantar, Dr. Dolores Delgado Bernal, Dr. Linda Kaminski, Dr. Mary McCullough, and Dr. Will Perez. So we're so happy to have them with us. If you all could please kindly introduce yourselves as well and share your area of research interest so that the students could get to know you a little bit better, that would be wonderful.
I guess I'll start. I think we're to go in order. And so I am Doctora Cynthia Alcantar. I am an associate professor in the Education Leadership Department. I'm also the new, along with my great colleague here, Doctora Delgado Bernal, the new interim co-director for the doctoral program. So I'm excited to be here with you all. Like, we're officially interim co-directors as of like last week. So thank you for having us in that capacity. But we've been working with the doctoral program for quite some time now. We've been here at LMU for almost 2 years. I think I'm about to complete the 2 years this August. And I'm also currently the director of the Master's in Higher Education program as well. And my areas of research are in higher education, more broadly speaking, access, degree attainment, issues around community colleges, minority serving institutions, all kinds of different things related to that and how these institutions serve minoritized students. Thank you for having me. I'll pass it over to Doctora Delgado Bernal.
Hello, everyone. Glad you're with us today. Yes, I am Dolores Delgado Bernal, and as Cindy said, we are co-directors and have some fun work ahead of us as we continue to work with this amazing program. I've also been here just about 2 years. One of the things that drew me is this doctoral program and the social justice emphasis, particularly the rearticulated and additional emphasis on DEIAJ, diversity, equity, and inclusion, but also anti-racism and justice. And I think it's really important that the university and our School of Ed name anti-racism as part of DEI to be really clear the kind of work that we're doing. My work spans ethnic studies education. My work, research, my leadership have all been highly influenced by Black feminists and Chicana feminists, and that comes from ethnic studies education. I've also done a lot of work with school, university, community partnerships and Chicana feminist methodologies. I'm kind of a methodological nerd in that sense. And right now I've been teaching 2 classes. That is the Qualitative Methods course and the Leadership for Social Justice course, which is the first course, one of 2 courses in the very first semester of the program. So again, welcome all. And I'll just pass over to Linda.
Hello there. And again, welcome to all of you. It's so great to see you. And we hope to see you again next year when you're here. I'm Linda Kaminski, and I am a director of one of our centers here in the School of Ed, the Center for Equity for English Learners. I'm the director of research and policy within that. And my background has always been with a strong focus on English learners, multilingual students. I started in education years and years ago as a paraprofessional in bilingual education, eventually teacher, principal, and ended my K-12 experience as a superintendent for 8 years. And then made the transition over here to Loyola Marymount, which is where I actually started school. So a complete circle. My research interests are, of course, in bilingual education, multicultural education, multilingual education, dual language, all those issues that affect students who are multilingual, as well as in leadership. I've done some really fine work talking to leaders throughout our state who have been noted for excellence in the way they sustained their focus on English learners during the COVID pandemic, despite all the challenges that had. These were exemplary leaders who've done great work that we continue to highlight over and over again. And then the third area is really looking at immigrant students, newcomer students, and what are the programs, the practices, the supports, the acknowledgements of their background and building on that background and honoring it that we're finding in school districts up and down the state of California. So welcome, and I hope we get a chance to talk. I teach the Transformational Leadership for Educational Achievement, and it's a course in your second term here where we actually start learning how to do an equity audit. Welcome again. And I will pass it to Will Perez.
I think Mary, you go before me. So we're gonna have like order, if it's okay.
Sure, that's fine. Hi, everyone. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here today. My name is Mary McCullough, and I'm a professor in the Educational Leadership Department. It's been my privilege to be with the program since the very beginning. So it's been fun for me to watch the program grow, watch all the work that our alums are able to do in the field and all the impact that we've made. My areas of interest are in organizational leadership, specifically managing change as an organizational leader. And I also work in some research in generational diversity in the workplace. I've taught a variety of classes in the program, but mostly the organizational theory and change class, the moral and ethical leadership class, and I have worked with many students in their dissertation preparation, and I'm currently working with one of the dissertation research communities, working with 6 students headed toward dissertation completion. So welcome. We're very happy to have you here today, Dr. Perez.
Thank you, Dr. McCullough. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Will Perez. I am professor, and just like my colleagues, Delgado Bernal and Alcantar, recently started my term as the department chair of educational leadership and administration, which houses the doctoral program. And similar to what many of my colleagues have shared, what attracted me to LMU in big part was the doctoral program. You know, kind of its emphasis, its premise, the preparation that it provides, and you know, and it was because it's aligned with the research and the scholarly work that you know I've done throughout my career. So I've been in the professoriate now for 20 years, but I arrived at LMU in 2018. And my very first course that I taught was Leadership for Social Justice, which is, you know, the first course that you will be taking when you start the program. Ever since then, I've been involved with the program in committees, and just like Dr. McCullough and Dr. Delgado Bernal, I also I oversee one of the dissertation research communities. And so I have a group of students that I'm working with on their dissertation. All of them just got through their IRB. I think we have one more that's pending, but you know, they're getting ready to do that final you know, milestone the dissertation defense. So my work focuses, overlaps with a lot of the work that Dr. Kaminski shared, that the work that she does focuses on in terms of multilingual learners. And just past March, we had a book that came out, co-author with my colleague, Rafael Vasquez, that focuses on a particular subgroup of multilingual learners. And these are indigenous immigrant youth whose home language is one of the 64 indigenous languages and their varieties that are spoken in Mexico and in Central America. And you know, many of them, you know, enter the school system as English learners. And so, you know, the book focuses on that, and a lot of my work has touched in that area. The other vein of my work it overlaps with Dr. Alcantar, which is higher education. And in particular there, I've looked at, my colleagues and I have looked at access and equity for undocumented students. And, you know, have also done some work on youth who grew up and have gone through the American educational system, but are, you know, have been deported or were forced to return to their country of origin because a family member was deported. So looking at educational access and equity through a transnational lens. So it's kind of looking beyond sort of national nation state borders and looking at a sort of a global perspective on educational access is kind of, you know, some of the new work that we're working on. So I hope that gives you a sense of the work that we do and continue to do, and we're just so excited that you are interested in applying to our program, and we're all very happy to connect with you. You know, drop us a line, and you know, we're happy to expand or clarify you know, some of the things that we've heard today. So with that, I'll hand it back to our host.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for sharing. For those of you who are leading dissertation research communities, could you share with us a little bit about what that process looks like, and how your experience has been working with these students and advising these students through that process?
It's been one of my favorite experiences so far because it is such, the cohorts aren't that large, but this is, I have 5 students in mind. It starts in a fall semester. That fall semester, we work together. Everybody has different research topics and projects, but we work together to support each other to complete chapter 1 and I read it, I'm giving feedback while they're working on chapter 2. I'm giving feedback while they're working on chapter 3. These are all drafts during that semester, so they have feedback on all of those to then be able to work over the break. Christmas break, got a little work to do that third year. And then the next semester, they're finishing that up and to defend the proposal. So they can get IRB, Institutional Review Board approval that they can actually do the research that they've proposed. All of my students have finished that process. And so this summer, we're working together to, they're collecting data. We're checking in with each other. None of them have data in hand yet, but by July, they should. And then we'll be working in how do we make sense of this data? How do you analyze the data? What's it mean? And end of July, early August, we're going to do some writing days to make sure we're writing those chapter 4 and 5, which are the findings. The goal is to defend before the Christmas break. And right now they're all on schedule. And the feedback from them has been really positive, and they've become quite a community even without me, so that they have their chats. They're always checking in with each other, supporting each other when there's a setback, just giving that encouragement. So I really I've worked at other universities, I've worked at doctoral programs, and I like the way this is set up with that small group of a team, a dissertation community.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to share about their experience as a dissertation research chair?
I guess what I'll add to what Doctora Delgado Bernal has shared is that it really that segment of the doctoral experience is really highly personalized. I mean, so we have group meetings with our entire research community group, but then we have also weekly check-ins, or sometimes more often or less frequent. It really depends on what you need from us as the chair of your dissertation, and different students have a different sort of process of doing that work. Some very much prefer sort of the high touch frequent check-ins, and others they can work independently. You sort of say, okay, let's kind of agree that we're going to approach it in this way, and sort of follow this formula, and then you don't need to check in until in a couple of weeks, and so part of the process from when that relationship begins, and that last leg of the doctoral studies is we get a sense of kind of what the students' preference is for doing the work together, and then sort of scaffolding that along the way, and then just sort of pacing it. So and it varies from individual to individual. I mean, I've served on over 100 dissertations throughout my career, and I can tell you they're all very different from each other. I mean, that they're not to look alike, and so hopefully that gives you some more insight about kind of what that third year will look like for you in this program.
Thank you. All right. I would also like to open up the floor and give you all the opportunity to ask our faculty panel some questions. So if you do have some questions for them, feel free to unmute or share in the chat also.
I have a question.
Sure. Hi, Ben.
I'm wondering about what are hot topics right now that need some doctoral study into? I mean, what's coming down the pike that these professors see that need to be addressed? That'd be very interesting to hear.
Great question. Thank you.
I believe just one area off the top of my head is the implementation of ethnic studies at the K-12 level. Because we have this legislation that is schools are already beginning to enact, but we don't have actually a credential in ethnic studies. There's no clear curriculum And so I think looking at the implementation of ethnic studies in K-12, specifically high school, because that's what the legislation really focuses on, is something really important right now. Both quantitative and qualitative data is important in that area.
I have going to do a follow-up with that real quick. I'm noticing a lot more development among teachers. I've been teaching for the last 20 years. That the teachers have to have a greater knowledge of child psychology, not necessarily psychology, but just methods to approach children from 1,000 different backgrounds and different needs. And they're being taught through continuing education of how to work with different students in different new way, and they're giving a lot more tools than teachers of the past. You know, it's pretty amazing. I'm wondering if we address that at all.
I'll just jump in again. I do think that particularly during COVID and post-COVID, we are seeing more attention on well-being, attention on the emotional, psychological needs of students. And absolutely, that is a priority right now, given given our socio-political climate and where we're at. How do we meet those needs of young people and ensure well-being?
And I think some of the research that we've been involved in here is really looking at the diversity among students, among, say, for example, English learners or just adolescents writ large, that there is no one definition that describes all these students, and it's up to us to help elucidate what are some of the differences, to understand, to raise student voices, to listen to our students talk about their experiences, and to support teachers, administrators out in the field to do the very same thing, so that we're customizing what we do. We're honoring and valuing who kids are who come into our schools, and we're building on those assets.
One thing I want to add.
Go ahead.
One thing that I want to add, though, because sometimes there's a lot of pressure for doctoral students to seek out the most hottest topic and what's latest thing happening and are kind of chasing something, when in reality, there's things that are happening in your own backyard that are really critical for us to understand better, maybe in a different lens. Maybe there's a ton of research on it, but it hasn't been looked at through the way you're thinking about it, the way you've experienced it. And we encourage folks to really dig deep into those things as well. And so we try to give you tools to explore those things. We encourage in your classrooms and the dissertations to explore literature that we're not even assigning to you. Maybe it's areas that we are not even talking about quite yet, but we bring it in, like we're happy to discuss it. And we do believe, I think all of us, one of the cool things about LMU too is that everybody, we have great researchers here, but then we also have some great educators who are wanting to learn from you too. And so we value what you're seeing, what you're experiencing, and I think that's one of the benefits of a place like this, and those research communities as well, because you're learning from your colleagues as well and expanding your learning and understanding of a topic.
Mary, I thought I had seen you were going to start to say something.
Thanks. Well, I was thinking about, in responding to the question you asked originally, we do have a lot who are focusing in on teacher education, what's needed in the classrooms, and then what's needed in the schools. I'm currently working with one of the doctoral students in my dissertation research community who is interviewing parents and collecting the voice of parents on chronic absenteeism, which is a big problem in schools today. So it's about how, back to what Dr. Alcantara was talking about, is looking at what's in your context and how can you look a little bit deeper in that and study that, look at the theories and evidence behind it, but also collect data in order to advance the field. And I think one of the beauties of the LMU program and the individualization that you've heard everyone talk about is, and I don't have the stats in front of me, but the number of students that enter our program who complete with their dissertation and graduation is in the high 90s, which isn't true in a lot of places. So it's that individualized attention, it's the communities that we form, and it's the ability for you to look at what really matters in your context, whether it is K-12, higher ed, pre-K, little people, whatever it is, that you have an opportunity to really dig deep into that area and become an expert in it, which then opens a lot of doors for you when you're finished.
But one of the things that Ben, back to your original question about kind of sort of hot topics. There's a trend that I'm seeing in the group that I'm chairing, our dissertation research community, is that there's a lot of interest in not just sort of the academic experience of students, whether K-12 higher ed, but also the social emotional well-being. And I don't think it's a coincidence that after the pandemic, in education across the board, P20, social emotional and psychological well-being, kind of rose to the forefront of our concerns about how do we respond to those needs of our students. So and in particular, kind of students with different lived experiences. So for example, I'm going to give you three dissertation topics that are three students right now that are working on. One is looking at social emotional well-being of English learners, right? Another one is looking at social emotional issues related to children of incarcerated parents during their college experience. Another student is looking at students who are parents while in college, right? So in the higher, what kind of social emotional support do they need? Because while they're getting their college studies, was at the community college or they've transferred to a 4-year, what services are in place to support these parents who are also working on their degree. And so there's a I think there's been a resurgence of interest in not just looking at sort of kind of the more sort of academic or sort of schooling experience, but the social emotional experience. So those are just three examples of three dissertations that are part of the group that I'm working with at the moment.
Well, you'll be happy to know that I worked in the state prison teaching for 8 years.
Okay, well, send me an email because we might need some of your assistance with recruiting
Yes.
participants. So I'd love to hear from you.
Wonderful answers. Great questions as well, Ben. Thank you all so much. I want to give the opportunity for Daryl to ask his question.
Yeah, hi. My question is actually a lot more basic because I didn't realize until you shared the slide about the availability or accessibility of the online program to certain states. And I happen to live in New York, and I didn't see New York on that list, which is a real bummer because so much of what everyone has spoken about is work that I do already. Within social justice and anti-racism reduction, and I've got an undergrad and a graduate degree in psychology, so this is something that I do all the time. Can you speak a bit more about, because I didn't realize there were limitations on this, are there any type of, any other type of solutions to this? Because I really like the program and I really like what I'm hearing.
Thank you, Daryl. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Michaela, might you know or have heard anything about New York?
So I can share that unfortunately, New York, they have been in contact with the powers that be, whoever negotiates these things, and unfortunately, New York has been approached, and the decision was that we do not have a agreement with them to offer online education. So I don't believe it's something that would be reversed in the future, but that being said, please do keep an eye on us. And, it is possible that in the future that New York may be a state that we can offer online education programs in.
Well, is this something that requires you to be a resident of the other states or to just
Yes. So the reciprocity agreement between the different states would state that you have to be a resident of the approved states. And pretty much what this means is that if you were to go through LMU's online program and you live in a state that LMU doesn't have an agreement with, it would mean that that state that you live in wouldn't recognize your degree. So that's why it is very important to make sure that your current state of residence does have an agreement with LMU for online education. I mean, of course, if you were to move to a different state that did honor the degree, then you know, you wouldn't come into that issue. But if you live in New York and you plan to stay there and to work there and want to have the EDD degree recognized, then you definitely would want to make sure that if you are enrolling in an online program, that it is recognized by New York State.
Okay, well, just to flush that out, and I don't want to take up a whole lot of time. I'm mobile, and I'm also planning a move to North Carolina and also these other states that are around me, Pennsylvania and Jersey. I also have connections to as well. And so I don't remember what was on that slide per se, but is North Carolina on that slide? Was that one of the accepted schools, do you know? Or states rather?
Should you be able to share that slide real quick, Leticia?
Sure. Give me 1 second. I do see New Jersey.
I think
Um,
Pennsylvania may be one too, but I don't want to say that without looking at the list. Yeah, Pennsylvania's on the list, it looks like.
No,
No,
North Carolina is not on there.
That's
That's amazing. That's really Illinois is on there, and I'm actually from Illinois. I'm from Chicago, so well, you know, with this particular situation, should I speak to someone in admissions for details about that? Because I am planning on leaving New York State.
So basically how it would work right now is if you were to start an application and you put in New York State as your current residence, then you would not be able to select the doctoral program as a program that you would be applying to. So just be aware of that. If you know where you're going to be moving to and you put in that state, then you would be able to proceed.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Leticia, there was a comment in the chat, and I just wanted to respond to everyone. It's about, are there opportunities to connect in person? Oops, sorry, wrong one. It was about doing is the dissertation a one-person task, or can it be done in a group? Right now, the way the program is designed, it is a one person. You're working in a group, but everybody is doing their own topic, their own dissertation. We have had recent discussions about rethinking that, of the possibility. I think for this incoming class right now, that would be starting in January, it looks like we're still at the single person, but it's an absolutely wonderful idea, one we've talked about, and one we're hoping to give as an option in the future. So just wanted to respond to that.
Thank you. And then I think I did see Lorena had her hand raised.
Yes, I did. I did take it down, but when I worked for LA Unified for 30 years, and I now teach online virtually for North Carolina. And because I mostly work with EL students previously, and was a literacy coach with LA Unified and a regular teacher and GATE teacher, I noticed that the EL students who are online, they do have EL students that they use with the company that I work for, but a lot of the students are at school, and then I am teaching them. I'm teaching from here, but they're in class. But sometimes the support for the EL students and culture is not there, because what happens is in some of these areas like North Carolina, you do not have qualified teachers. So there's a lot going on, and the social emotional part is such a big thing, and I'm glad that's being addressed. I like that. I like what Ms. Delgado said, because I was like, okay, so that's a big thing. And in meeting their emotional needs, because it is online, sometimes there's a disconnect and you have to reach out and make yourself more available. Because I let my students send me messages anytime they feel like it. They can email me right away because it's not like I can just talk to them, because usually I'm addressing 25, 30 students. There may be a facilitator in the room, but their subject may not be math. So they're not doing that. And with some of the EL students, I feel so bad for them, because unlike when I was in the classroom in brick and mortar, I know I could do things with them because I'm a second language learner, but I can't do that in the virtual realm with them. So I have to find other ways to address their needs. And I think it's a great topic. It's a great thing. And my master's is in curriculum, is in curriculum. So I just like what everybody said. I really appreciate what was stated in this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorena.
Leticia, there's a couple of questions in the chat. I was thinking maybe I would answer one, and if somebody could answer Natalie's, I'll answer. I'm sorry, I lost the other one. Oh, it looks like Michaela did answer one. Oh, Rachel had a question. How is it determined which professor is assigned with which students for the dissertation research community? And it's not just random. Students first say where they feel there might be a connection with the research interests, professors you had class with. That all comes in, and that will be Cindy and I kind of breaking that down. And then we invite faculty to be part of the dissertation research community. And so not every semester, every fall is when we start a new group. It may be that the professor you're interested in isn't going to be taking a new group on this year, but we try to match up as best as possible. And I know in the last few years, the students get their first or second choice. I think they put several choices down based on, again, interest, courses they've had, personality connections, things like that.
That aside from your chair, you do have the chair and the person who's you're with through this research community, but you also have required 2 other research committee members that are part of your team who also support your research. So perhaps you're in a group where the faculty maybe is not in your direct research interests, maybe they are methodologically, but not in your specific topic. And we encourage them to form a committee that then you have an expert, somebody who can inform that part of your research. So there's a whole team who's supporting you along the way. And of course, you still have access to all the other faculty. Doesn't mean you can't go talking to somebody else, but those are your key, more direct supports for it.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions?
No, I just say thank you for just for for going over all this information. There is a lot of stigma around doing online programs, but I think this is one, especially because I am an English language learner myself, and I work with the immigrant students here at El Camino College. So this is definitely something I would like to explore. So thank you very much for all the professors that I'm here. I think it really makes a difference that you're here and you're talking about your research. Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Josefina. Actually, a student that I work with, I was on her committee. I wasn't her chair, but she's at El Camino, and I've become a great fan of El Camino College because I learned so much about El Camino from her. And I want to say, to the question about online and building community, I've been so just amazed when, because I started at LMU when it was still a face-to-face program. And then, during the pandemic, so the transition to online, and then we did a little hybrid, and then we went fully online. And, sort of chairing, these dissertation committee groups, and seeing just the bond. I mean, they have like WhatsApp, kind of group chats that they are always alluding to. Like when we meet one-on-one or in the group, they're like, oh, well, somebody running late, they just check in on the group. Oh, something came up, or they'll say, they'll share with me like, so-and-so is going to join us later, or, so it's really, I mean, I've been really, and I think it sort of speaks to the shared sensibilities of our students, regardless of what, space in P20 they work in, really does lend itself to kind of building that community, even virtually. And I, students have shared that they, the ones that are within physical proximity of each other, that they do find ways to physically, come together and build community in that way as well.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. And then we have a question from Rachel, wondering if there has been any research focus for current or prior students on LGBTQ issues, specifically in higher ed. Thinking of diving into that area as a possible research topic. Can anyone share to that or elaborate?
Well,
I can tell you, go ahead, Linda.
oh, thank you. It's actually not higher ed, but secondary education. Oftentimes in my class, students will choose to look at situations in the position that they're actually working, look at areas of inequities where they are actually working, and encourage that to begin that process of being able to develop that muscle to identify things, to work through the research, to work with people, and to plan a way to change some of these inequities that you are aware of. And so I have had a number of students who in my class have done an equity audit. We call it an equity audit case study. It's an analysis of an inequity at an organization. And there've been a number that have focused on LGBTQ issues in their organizations. And then oftentimes they then continue to expand that project as they go through the different classes beyond mine and do a dissertation on it. And I was really pleased at this last hooding ceremony that we had to see one of my students completing his dissertation on this topic and just got promoted by his employer. So it was all very, very good.
And I would just add, Leticia or Michaela, if there's a way to share with the group a link to where all our students' dissertations are archived, you could go through all of them. They're all, open access. And you will see that there are many, many dissertations there that have focused on LGBTQ issues in both higher ed, K-12, the Catholic sector, the charter sector. So, that will also give you a sense about, the kind of work that our students are producing at the end of their 3-year doctoral studies journey with us.
And I'll just add that definitely literature by and about LGBTQ communities is included in courses in the program. And so I know the courses that I teach, I always have throughout embedded in scholarship by LGBTQ scholars.
And I can confirm that too, because in my class, it's the topic for tonight. So the only regret I have is that I'd love to have more time to cover more of these topics more in depth, because they really are crucial for our work and our leadership.
Thank you. All right, Sitali, if you could share, that will be the last question. We value you all so much and your time. Thank you all so much for being here. If you do have questions, please feel free to reach out via email. Please, Sitali. You're welcome to share question. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
I think you're muted. There we go. Sorry. Hello, my name is Citlali Luna. I'm currently getting my master's in the English department here at LMU, and LMU has been such a great school, and I learned from Elisa Rodriguez in the dean's office that I worked closely with for an independent study that we had an amazing EdD program. And so I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking time and really explaining all of your research interests and what the program is about. I was a writing instructor this past year and going to be a professor this upcoming year here at LMU through our fellowship program. And I'm super excited, but I had a question. I was just wondering, excuse me, if I wanted to speak like more in depth about or had more questions about this program, who would I reach out to? I would be in person in LMU.
Yeah, if you would like to chat, you're more than welcome to come visit me in VDA 235 at the Graduate Admission Office. I'm here on campus Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I'd be happy to chat with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Of course. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your time. And thank you all so much. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions.